Okay, so just so everybody knows, we're being recorded and I'm calling the meeting of the Board of Health to order. Welcome to everyone. And first, have you had a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting?
Yes, I did. I wrote them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yes.
you want to make a motion?
So I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Okay, yes.
All right, so we vote. Accepted.
Favor?
Okay. Aye.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Marcy, are you on? Okay,
Dragons.
Marcy is.
Dragons.
Dragon, you are on.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. So,
Hey, Dragon.
I was going to defer to get Marcy so she wouldn't have to hang on, but since she's not on, let's go right to, an update from the health inspector.
Okay, I think the first one on the list is Joy Bowl, an inspection that took place there. We're gonna have a conversation about the results. So we have our collaborative inspectors that did the inspection, and we have the owners of Joy Bowl. I'm gonna hand around the inspection so that we're all working off the same thing here, okay? You want to share?
Yeah, we can play it.
I had that
He has
ready.
the copy.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think usually we want to go first to have you guys explain the inspection, what happened from your perspective. And what you've done since then, and then we'll have our collaborative inspectors talk about how the inspection went, all right?
他说就是看你什么意见，他来检查的时候
没有意见，
发生什么。
没有意见，我们就是他说什么我们就做什么。
They really don't have any, I'm just doing the translation.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that's right.
appreciate it.
So they really don't have any inkling as far as the inspection goes. So whatever the violations or not approved, they have done what needs to be done to make sure that everything is in the clear.
Do they have any details around that, how it happened, how the inspection, because the reason why you guys are here tonight is the inspection didn't go well. And we
Right.
had a previous inspection that also didn't go well. So can they talk a little bit about why they think that's the case and what they're doing to fix that?
Okay, 他说他之前
Excuse
有
me for 1 second. So there was an initial inspection. I'm just trying to clarify. There was initial inspection with some issues.
So I'm talking about a previous
Yeah.
set of inspections.
Right.
So this was, so one set of inspections were at the beginning of the year.
Yes, okay, so there were inspections at the beginning of the year. There were problems.
Yep.
And that was discussed. And as far as the owners are concerned, they feel like they took care of the problems.
at the time, yes.
Okay, and then there was another inspection which showed that the problems actually were not taken care of.
I don't know anything about the first inspection, so is this the repeat of what the first inspection is, or is this an extra? New stuff that,
Right, so basically in a nutshell, I think the trajectory of how the inspections have gone over the last year.
Mhm.
They kind of just, there was no motivation toward correcting the initial violations,
Mhm.
and there's just repeated violations that we're seeing. So we're looking to get some motivation and getting in the right direction with those.
Okay.
I mean, maybe there's language issues.
right, yeah,
I'm-
it could be, it
I'm
could
not
be,
sure,
I'm
so-
just brought in this time and all I see is this report. I don't know anything about prior inspections.
When I'm speaking, are you understanding
Yes.
me or
I can understand what you're saying.
you can understand?
Mhm.
So do you mind if I,
Go for it.
so after the initial inspection, when the problems were identified, you feel like you corrected them?
对，我每次上次他们来检查，我们做好了。去年我们说去年的检查，他们说不行， 然后我们做了，然后第二次检查，他们说没有问题了，所以去年已经过去了，为什么又提去年的？
他不是说去年，他是今年年初，
今年年初我们也做了，他每次来检查之后，然后我们都做好了，然后可能没有员工没有保持好，
对
然后又
他的
犯
意思
同样
就是
的错误
对，right，他的意思就是说你是重复的那
对对，
个那个
我
problem，
知道，
you know。
我们
Okay, so now she understands. So she was talking about last year, there was an inspection and they corrected it and it was re-inspected and it was okay.
That's not.
That was last year.
For
So
the
we're
initial
talking about
inspection at the
the,
beginning of the year?
no, last year. The
Okay.
beginning of the
Yeah,
year
yeah,
is a
last
different
year,
inspection.
beginning of the year.
So you guys had two, you might think it's last year, it's the very beginning of this year that your last inspection took place, your last routine inspection. So
Right, but
this
they-
was a routine inspection that we have right
Uh-huh.
here, that just happened.
Right,
Yeah.
And then the one previous wasn't last year,
it was,
but the one before this routine inspection was at the beginning of 2020.
Like in January of twenty
从
twenty.
1月份的时候来检查过
And that one was also similar to this one.
right.
And so that's why
那时
they're
候
here
我
tonight.
们也做了，就是他们每次来检查，我们都
他
教了
的意
做了，
思就是
然后
说你要
又同样
keep
对
up，you know，就是
我知
员工要
道，
keep
我知
up。
道了，因为我们的员工是一直换，然后
嗯
每次都要 training，然后就会有
So I was explaining to her, you know, whatever the time of the initial inspection is. So they corrected it at the time, but apparently the employees did not keep up with what needs to be done. So now you went back there this time and then it's the same repeated offense or whatever you call it, violations. So her issue is that they keep having change of employees. And every time they have to train them and do, and
Sure.
it's the upkeep that is
Yeah.
hard to do. So, I mean, obviously, every time you find something, they try to correct it. But then it was, and I explained to them that it's repeatedly the same issue, so maybe there should be written down somehow, you know, to make sure that everybody follows these rules, new or old employee.
So before we move forward, I just want to be clear that we're not punishing. Or you know, we're not here to punish anybody. Being the Board of Health, our concern and our responsibility from the state is to ensure that when the public comes in to eat at your place, that they're not at risk for diseases and health problems. So that's why we have you here, to try to figure out what we can do together to make sure that the health standards are being followed. Because you know, otherwise, eventually, I mean, we can't allow we can't allow the restaurant to continue if there's ongoing problems that are corrected. And I understand what you're saying about employee turnover. It's a big problem. However, that doesn't do anything for those of us who are responsible for the public health. Does that make sense?
我知道了。
She understands
Does
that.
that make sense?
Mm.
So I think we're here today to figure out how we're gonna solve this problem. I'm done. Thank you, Matt. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, so I just wanted to ask our inspectors to maybe give you know, they've had a conversation as to why they think they got to where they are. Maybe the inspectors that were there can talk to us a little bit about the challenges that they think might be present.
Yeah.
Since they were there the last two inspections.
Yeah, just a quick question, Ben, is he the manager there? Is he a supervisor?
Yeah, he's the manager.
I've worked with him in both
Yeah.
inspections,
Mhm.
and I will say there's definitely a language barrier, and I've run into this in various establishments that I've been into. One of the things that's really helpful though, especially with getting employees on the same page and staying motivated in their work. If you have employees who speak another language, I have plenty of educational material that I can provide to you that you can hang up for them, and that's been really helpful. But overall, I think we're
In
just
that
being-
language.
Right, it all depends, I'm just not sure which
Yeah,
That
language
was
that is, but
actually
I have,
something I was gonna suggest is to have
yep,
stuff
Mhm.
written out,
Yes.
hang up on the wall,
Def-
follow one, by one, step by step
Yeah.
and get it done that way.
yes,
yeah.
and I've had hands-on experience with that, and it's really
Yeah.
helpful.
Mhm.
Because it's there, so they can see that, you know, you have a visual aid to help you correct some of these repeat violations, and I think, you know, that's what we're prioritizing here. But, primarily just food handling safety, you know, making sure that we're handling food in the appropriate areas, in the appropriate manner, and storing those items appropriately as well.
Is there an opportunity for, serve safe in, what language are we talking about?
Chinese,
Chinese.
Chinese.
Chinese
Is that
Mandarin.
possible for serve?
It's a common,
Yeah.
it's you, so the state provides a list of, approved, not all, but many approved, proctors for serve safe exams. And Mandarin is a very common one,
And-
Spanish obviously the most.
And what would it involve if we think that their employees should be serve safe trained?
Yeah.
In Mandarin?
Yeah.
What would that entail for the business? What would that involve for the business?
That is an option that the board would have, that, to order all, PICs, people in charge, to be retrained, even if they are currently trained, but be retrained, for serve safe. And all they would need to do is, we would have to have a deadline on when that happens. And they would need to show proof that it is that it has been completed. So that is one option that the board has.
And how would they access that in Mandarin? That's my question.
So, I can provide,
Okay,
from the DPH, a listing of options.
and
And it lists the language on it.
and does that involve the employees going somewhere for a training?
It would, well, maybe not for the training, trainings can be online, but, it's up to the proctor. Ultimately, they do have to be in person for the test,
Right,
because it has to be observed by the proctor.
okay.
But a lot of times the trainings can be online.
Okay,
It depends on the proctor.
Is there a cost to the
There
business?
is, yeah, so obviously they would have to pay for the serve safe, for each one of their employees, that's a person in charge.
How many employees would that involve for this business?
So let's have to ask them, I know Ben is one, right? How many people do they have that are in charge? And by in charge, I mean, at any point the business is open, someone has to be in charge.
Mhm.
So how many of those people do they employ?
也有几个人在做 manager 就是 Ben。
这边一个嘛，
They really only have Ben there
三太
at
我
all
们两
times,
个
and
都
then
不在。
sometimes they, the two of them will come. They have other restaurants in the areas, so, they all over the place. So Ben is the one that's in charge of this particular restaurant in Hadley.
How many hours are they open a week? Are they open every day?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
From what times?
You didn't know how.
11 to 9.
Is Ben there every single day, 11 to 9?
When he take a day off, either him or me will be working.
Okay. If that's the case and there's no other people in charge, then if the board was to decide that the next step would be to have them retrained in ServSafe, then it seems like it's either of you two or Ben, correct? That would be 3 people that would need to get ServSafe certified, even if they hold one right now.
But this is only if you require that.
That's what the board's considering right now, next
Okay.
steps. That is
Yeah.
one option that the
Mhm.
chair just brought up. There are other options.
Right.
Another option would be that a consultant is required to be hired by the business who would review the business operations.
Mhm.
Many times those consultants also will provide a new training, ServSafe training. But the additional part for the consultant is they would review the business practices
Mhm.
and do inspections themselves as follow-ups to make sure that the changes they requested have been implemented and the employees understand how to execute them.
Mhm.
And once that's done, then they would let the Board of Health know and we would come through and do a final inspection. That's another option the board would have as far as getting a consultant. But these are options for the board, but they haven't decided on one yet.
Okay.
So, Dragon, we haven't heard from you. Do you have any questions or thoughts?
Sorry, I had to do the dreaded unmute. No, I don't really have any thoughts. I can appreciate the challenges with turnover with staffing, especially with our young college age students that are a lot of employees in the area, especially with the food service. So I think definitely some education in a primary language would be very helpful. And probably meet Ben where he's at a little bit, so that way we can make this as successful as possible. And I would be interested in what Margaret's perspective is in terms of possibly the consultant group as well, just in terms of the discussion.
The consultant, it would incur more costs for you. You would have to pay for that consultant to come in. Obviously, that's an added expense on the business. That's not what we're here to do. We're not trying to burden you in that area. But we also, I think, as Dr. Mosler pointed out, we're trying to really ensure that the problems that showed up don't continue to happen, even though you have a turnover in staff. There's got to be something a little more in place. So we're not here to penalize you or punish you, but we do need to keep the public safe. And we need those sorts of assurances from you that whatever steps are taken, that they will be followed through on, so that we don't, I mean, these are like first steps, right? It goes from here to the very end, which we don't want to even have to talk about, what that might be. But so we're looking for some feedback from you about,
How about,
how what are you thinking about what we're talking about? Maybe.
how about the suggestion, I don't know your name,
Angelica,
Angelica,
yes.
is to post step by step of what needs to be done on the wall, so all employees is looking at the same thing and following through before we jump into getting more expenses. As you know, business are not that great nowadays,
Yeah.
I mean, training Ben is probably a good idea. However, he's only one person. Is he going to be able to relate everything back to the other employees? I used to own a restaurant. That's why I can relate to all these issues. Putting them the step-by-step cleaning instruction or whatever the violation is on the wall, though, so people who are working there, both in Chinese and English, I think they have part-time people who are Americans that read English. So if you post them on the wall, so everybody follows that through, as a starting point, and then maybe somewhere down the road, you can go back and inspect and see if these things are corrected before we jump the gun to hire a consultant.
Right, and I think what people were saying here, and Dragon, chime in, Ben, Dr. Mosler, that it's gonna require that people still complete the ServSafe as the basic.
I think what I would feel comfortable, and you have to chime in here too, what I would feel comfortable with, Ben, I want to hear, what you think also, is that yes, to get the instructions
Mhm.
in Mandarin and to have the manager and
Them do the
do
search.
ServSafe
Okay.
in the appropriate language.
Yeah.
And I would feel comfortable with that as a first step, and, I don't know, Ben, you can recommend what a reasonable time frame would be?
Yeah, so I think a reasonable timeframe would be that they would identify the course and instructor that they would use within, let's say, 2 weeks. They get that all set up and show via email or an invoice or something along those lines that they have paid for the services, and then provide the agent, that would be myself, with a timeline on when the classes can be completed, that type of thing. And then what I'd like to do is, once that's completed, that myself, maybe the collaborative inspectors, we can go back for reinspection and supply the business, if not already, with the posters that we were talking about, so that that's up. The leadership has been retrained and a reinspection has been done. I think that kind of puts together everything we've been talking
And
about.
we would want that all done, within a period of a couple of months?
Yeah, so 2 weeks for it to get all lined up, but
Right.
sometimes a class won't be happening until like the following month or
Right.
something, right? In
Right.
which case, so basically the next available class after the 2-week period has been completed.
So, do you feel comfortable with that?
Yes, that sounds like a great plan.
Speak up. I mean,
他的意思就
Yeah.
是说，
Margaret,
让你们
you feel-
Yeah,
三个
I
人
do,
去
and I hope that you folks see the Board of Health as a resource. Rather than, kind of wait for the next inspection. If you have questions or concerns and you're not sure about something, that you also reach out and contact us, or in other words, I
That,
think,
yeah.
I think, it's about working together.
We're here to
on
help
this,
and
right?
support you, and, Dragon, do you have anything that you want to add here, or?
No, I think Ben's proposal sounds reasonable, especially since having someone service safe in charge at all times present is really a requirement. So I think this would be a good compromise here.
Okay, and can you make sure that
Okay, I was just gonna translate
we are
everything. So
all
他就是
understanding exactly
Mhm.
Yeah.
what they're being, what they need to do,
Okay,
and that there's a timeline,
okay,
and that they need to communicate directly with Ben to assure us
Mhm.
that they're moving forward and getting done what needs to get done.
Yeah.
In a timely manner. So if you could make sure that
Yeah.
we're,
他就说要你们三个人，你们两个跟了 band 要去读那个 Serve Safe 那个课，读完还要考试的。
我
可是
都有那个
读
证，
对，可是他现在需要你再去读一次，OK？你可以读那个有中文的嘛，是吧？他说他有中文的。
应该是吧？因为我们考的那个也是英文的字体，没关系。
Well, they are Serve Safe certified already in the English form. They didn't go for the Chinese version. But your requirement is that they redo the Serve Safe again? Is
Yeah.
that-
At this time, what the board is considering is asking for that because the result
Okay.
of the inspections
Okay.
have not
Okay.
shown that they
Yeah.
are able
那
to
我要是
stay
读
in
下来的话，
compliance.
只要我老公跟 Ben 读就好了。
可是你刚刚已经
看那个神经病。
他有录音。
嗯
OK。So 可是他说他要你2个礼拜之内把它安排好，然后告诉 Ben，就是你is there a website that they would sign up for the class or?
So what I will do is give them contact information for
Okay.
the trainers.
Yeah.
That the Mass Department of Public Health
Mhm.
puts out a list
Yeah.
of approved trainers with the languages on there.
Yeah.
So they can look through them
Mhm.
and choose a trainer
one?
in their language that they want
Mhm.
and then work with them. Our ask is that whoever they pick, they have to let us, it has to be within 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And they have to let us know who it is, when that class is gonna take place, that type of.
OK，他的意思就是说他会告诉你，OK，你可以
去哪里
去
读
哪里读。
好
你读书那个时候呢，你可以在 computer 上面，在 online 读，right？在 online classes，right？
Depends on the proctor.
Yeah.
They get to choose who they
Okay.
want to use.
你挑的那个老师是可以上网的话就上网，不行的话呢，你就要亲自去。
去呢不可能，我们怎么去？
嗯，你以前说谁在哪
我们都是 online 做的，
？OK，
去我们怎么去？我们
背
三个
英文可以吗
背英文可以，不会开车啊，他怎么去？
？All right. So they're saying that they can probably take it in English rather. The problem here is travel. You know, if they have to go somewhere for the class, it becomes a little bit of an issue because Ben doesn't have a car. They do. But then again, you know, it's a time consuming. If it can be done online, it would be a lot better.
Well, some of them are online.
Right.
That's why he's gonna give them a list.
他会给你了，可以 online，可是你要考好了，然后可是你要通知他，你譬如说有10个老师的，你就挑好哪一个呢？你要通知他，OK，他会 email 给你其他的东西，可是2个礼拜你要安排好3个人，你们3个人，然后呢，他就会给你那个要怎么做的，就贴在墙壁的那个，OK， all right。
我们自己不可以找老师啊。
你找的那个老师要 serve safe
对呀
proof 的
肯定都是，没事，那就看看
And。it would have to be for the 3.
Yeah,
Ben
for the
and
three,
Ben both.
yeah. Mhm.
So they understand.
Yeah.
Ben will provide them with a list. And it's their responsibility to reach out
Mhm,
and arrange for the safe serve class.
mhm.
And they need
Yeah.
to communicate with Ben
Back
who
to
the
the,
teacher is
yeah.
and when the
Mhm.
class is happening.
Yeah.
And then after the class, you know, they have to keep us updated
mhm,
as to the progress and to let us know when the 3 of them are recertified, are safe serve recertified.
mhm, yeah, okay.
And we will provide
Yes. we
Some-
can-
Is that
uh,
after the serve safe or are you gonna provide
we
the
could do
language?
it as soon as.
Yeah, because I think that would help,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
And
as
what-
soon as
you
they,
said Chinese, correct?
in Chinese,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, I have plenty of material.
Yeah.
I'll be in the area tomorrow, actually. I can stop
Great.
by and leave a
Okay.
folder for you.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mitch.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Now, I know you wanted it done in 2 weeks, but next week is Thanksgiving. Is that gonna?
So 2 weeks to
Affect-
select the proctor and
Right.
set everything up. I'm not expecting it to be completed in 2 weeks.
No, not the class itself, but
Yeah.
to select and
Yeah.
agree with because next week is kind of shot, you know, if the
Understood.
proctors are even gonna respond back.
So
Underst-
let's say what, by December,
And do like,
December next week.
So
I'm saying like by December 14th, what day?
let's make it,
I agree
let's
with the
just make
holiday
it
this year.
3 weeks from tonight.
tonight is the 21st, so 1, 2, 3, the 12th then.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, how,
Now, this is not that the class has to be complete.
Right,
but
it just
we
has
need-
to
We
be-
need to know
yeah,
that it's
mhm.
happening.
Yeah.
And when it's gonna happen.
so 12月12号之
嗯哼
前你要
嗯哼
挑好，然后要告诉他
嗯
哪一个那个课是什么时候开始？OK，你只要挑好了就可以了。OK，
好
OK，yeah，understood that.
So just they wanna, sounds like there's a,
I don't know if it might be helpful, whatever you email her, since I'm gonna be helping her out.
Yeah.
Is to CC me on it.
why isn't, she has my email address after tonight.
Yeah.
She can reach out to me with UCC.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, that you're looking for the list of
Mhm.
approved proctors from DPH.
Mhm,
And I will get back with that list and that will start the chain that you will be on.
okay.
And thank you very much.
You're welcome.
They're good friends.
I try.
Yeah.
You don't know how many Chinese people I help in this area.
Well,
It's
then,
hard.
you're very nice then.
It's really hard.
No, they're good friends.
Do you have questions or?
No.
OK，你走了，等一下你
Wanna
就
vote at this
email
point?
给他，
嗯
然后也
Right,
把我的
so make a
email 也写
motion
上去。
then that
你
we
就说
accept
你
the
就
option
打
of
please
safe, serve safe training and that they will
Please.
follow up with the requirements, already outlined.
I think should add the dates.
All right, so I did put, reasonable timeframe is 3 weeks from tonight. to select the proper service and classes, to communicate
Sorry.
with the health inspector who the teacher is, to communicate when the classes will be held
Perfect,
and when the testing is completed.
So
Great.
that should.
That would be the
That
motion.
should be the motion.
perfect.
All right.
I-
all those-
Dragon seconds,
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Dragon eye.
All right, thank you. It is unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for dropping the
Really appreciate
materials
it.
off tomorrow. That's really
Appreciate all
great.
your work.
No problem, happy to help.
Yeah,
Who should I address that to? Are you available to meet tomorrow so I can leave that with you?
Help
or-
把那个中文
Ben 在
Ben
will
is
be-
there, they're not gonna be around.
Okay,
OK，你就告诉 Ben 他会来。OK。
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just composing the email for her.
That's fine. If you guys want to stay, that's fine, but otherwise we'll
No,
move on
I'm
to the next
going home.
agenda item. Does that
Okay.
sound okay?
thank you for
Thank
Thank you,
coming.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for.
Thank-
Marcy? Marcy,
Hi.
are you here?
Oh, yeah, I've been listening.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was gonna do you first, but we started the meeting and,
No, this sounds very important.
okay, well, you're important too. You wanna give us an update?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, after this, after what's happened, it's kind of lame, but, everything is going well at the senior center. Thank you for the resources that you provided when I've asked. I appreciate that. And, I get a lot of regulars every Tuesday. It's about maybe 17 to 20 people who pass by and have something, most have blood pressures, and then there's also other things. And then, like what? Did you say something?
I was just gonna say, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah, it feels good. It really does feel good. So,
Yeah, You're doing a great job.
this week we did a topic on falling and falls risk, what to do if you fall, how to prevent, and it went really well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Marcy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with
Okay.
everything, you guys.
Happy holidays.
See you later.
Ben, do you have anything else that you want?
Yeah,
so
there's
we
a
can
couple
get-
other items on the
come and go
the
as
agenda
well?
that I wanted to hit. So Tapestry, we have an agreement with Tapestry that's all set up, and we sent it to our town admin, acting town admin, and it was agreed upon there. The special town meeting did approve the funds. So where the contract is right now is with legal. I wanted it to be here tonight for the board to vote on it, but unfortunately, I checked yesterday, it wasn't gonna be
Okay.
ready by today. So hopefully by the next Board of Health meeting,
Okay.
legal will have completed their review and we'll be able to vote on it. And at that point, what will happen if the board passes it is that it would go to select board because there's money
Right.
involved and they would consider it. And if it passes there, then it would be good to go. So that's the story
That's
on
great.
Tapestry.
Thank you.
Oktoberfest is also on the list. The inspections were done there. There were 3 vendors, 2 of which were able to stay, 1 of which was asked to leave. They voluntarily did leave. There was a concern related to their food safety, that they were not able to correct at the time of the event and therefore asked to leave. They agreed to, and so they were not at Oktoberfest. But that's why we do inspections.
Right.
And so that's the story on what happened there. Okay. The next item is rabies SOP. So obviously, as you know, we had a hiccup where we weren't sure what vet we're going to be using for issues related to possible rabid animals when we get the call, and that's been resolved. But there was also a question now that we have this new vet, what are we going to do? And, you know, how is that all gonna go? So an SOP was drafted by myself, sent out to Dragon along with anyone else that's involved in the process. And it was reviewed by anyone that wanted to make any changes were able to. And at this point, we've landed on what it is. And of course, it's only as good as the first time it's tested.
Right,
So, you know, we'll test it. Unfortunately, there will be a call at some point for this.
right.
And then we'll test it. And if
Well, we have
anything
a
needs to
process
change,
now, which is great.
anything that needs to change, we'll change it at the time. But I figured the board should be aware that is essentially the I is dotted, the T is crossed on that. So we should be good.
Terrific. Thank you both. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dragon, for your help on it as well.
Oh, Ben, you were all behind it. I was just in the wings.
So I'll move to the next thing here, Title V, the applications. I think I had an email with yourself, Margaret, about updating the applications online.
I put that online.
You did it?
I believe I did.
Okay, so I'll double check it.
Back then, so it's on the side, the left side of the page.
Okay, if it's just on the left-hand side, there's a page just for applications. And if you didn't update it there, then it should be updated there as well, but I'll talk to you about it after. But I figured I'd let the board know that we're updating our Title V
Right.
applications with the DPH ones, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Just the standard one that they've updated, so we're doing that. Next thing is for food inspections. Actually, the inspectors here would have been good for this one, but we haven't changed the form because we still need an electronic form. What I gave you earlier, the inspection form, which is this one, is what we want to have for ourselves. And we would use the same inspection form as them,
We can't get the software and
but
stuff.
we're working with them, the collaborative, to be able to do that, and that's all now.
Question.
Yep,
So looks like, does that have the Northampton seal on it? Are we using their form?
no, this is Hampshire Public Health Shared Services Collaborative, and this is just the public health like icon that they use.
Do we have it available in a PDF form? Because if they send it to you in a PDF, I can make it as a fillable PDF for you.
Okay, that would be awesome. That would be helpful. Yeah, that'd be great. I'll talk to them after this. So that would be a nice like middle ground, because
Right.
ultimately what we'd want is for it to go on their cloud and then the collaborative's cloud.
Right.
So that it's obviously would be available to us, but also to them at the same time, and they wouldn't have to be able to have to come to our department, for example, and hey, can I get the last inspection? You know, but
Exactly.
if you were to make it into a PDF, Dragon, that would be a good middle ground, because I mean, this form is just better than what the old form is that we have. So anyways, thank you for saying that, Dragon, and also board should know we're still trying to get that done. I'm gonna push them a little bit harder because, as you may know, state Department of Public Health is almost 50% funded or helped funded, whether it be grants or some other way, from the federal government. And you know, obviously there could be some flux on how much money is coming in, and so we should probably get that sealed up as soon as possible. I know it's been on the to-do list for like a long time now, so I'll reach out to them again and say, hey, let's get this thing done if we're going to do it.
So can I just ask for a point of clarification? So Dragon, you can hopefully put this in a PDF format, and if that happens, then this particular form can be uploaded to the cloud to be accessed by Ben.
Yeah, and Ben could fill it in with the iPad. Like there would be,
Okay,
and he could just do it, go along as he goes, and then you save it, and then you could email it or send it to a shared drive with the collaborative and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Okay, the last thing I'll put, thank you, by the way, and last thing I'll say, I'll make this really quick because we've been doing it for a while now. Just stuff that I've been involved in, still doing the registered sanitarian training, the state standardization training. I just did the MHOA conference, which is like the big one for health inspectors. That was excellent, by the way.
Oh, good.
And they gave me all kinds of resources that we'll be able to use here in Hadley. And by resources, I mean like updated forms, like quick reference things, you know, all kinds of stuff that just helps your day-to-day move better and make better decisions. And we've been doing a decent amount of housing follow-ups, and there's a little bit of a year-end push for Title V now that we do it all year. There's still the issue where once the ground freezes, they can't really, so like, you know, it's kind of like, let's get it done before the ground freezes. So there's a little bit of a push on that. That's the last thing I have on my list. So thank you, guys.
Ben, thank you for everything.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's see, we've got.
If you
an
have
update.
any issues come up with the plan, or just let us know.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Peter.
Me, food permit renewals for 2025. So as you may recall, 2 years ago, we turned on Permit Link. We sent out our first email campaign, if you will, in December of 2022 for 2023. Last year, we sent out the emails end of November, asking people to go ahead, start renewing, and submit your applications electronically, submit your payments electronically. This year, what we did is we bumped up another month.
Okay.
So October 23rd, we actually sent out letters electronically to our food establishments that were listed in Permit Link, reminding them that by January 1st, they need to renew. So, so they've had a notice now, an email in their email boxes now for almost a month. Because we were early this year, earlier than last year and earlier than the year before, we've already collected almost $11,000 in permit fees, whereas last year we hadn't even gotten the letters out yet.
Right,
So,
it's great.
so that $11,000, it's already in the town coffers. It's already in the treasury at this point. So, in terms of the adoption of using Permit Link, I'll say that the food establishments are getting better with using it. They're getting more accustomed to it. That doesn't mean that we don't still have a punch list of some of the food establishments who don't understand how to use it or don't understand how to upload a document or how to pay electronically or whatever. I've also had to reach out a handful of times to the vendor, asking them to do either some exercise in terms of support, or in 1 or 2 cases, we actually had them go back in and do some software development, because we found that some things were missing or they were lacking. And so by and large, the process has gone smoother, it's quicker. And again, we because we jump-started it, we got $11,000 ahead of the game, whereas, you know, compared to where we were last year. So, and that's, you know, if you're at the town meeting last week, you know, the whole, a lot of money was spent on some very good things. But again, we're trying to, you know, supplement the taxes that we're collecting with, again, fees on a timely basis. So I think that went relatively well. You know, in terms of, as Ben mentioned, we're still getting Title V applications. And we're actually getting some of the contractors that do the hauling and the installations, so forth. They've actually been proactive in terms of renewing as well. So we've permitted, you know, whatever, at least a half a dozen vendors or contractors for the entire year of 2025 already. So they've applied, they've paid, they have their permits, they're ready to go until December 31st, 2025. So, yeah, so that's going smoother than previously. I think they're now in a groove, they're in a habit of, okay, yeah, I need to do this. You know, they're not necessarily waiting for us to reach out to them, although there'll be some I'm sure I'm gonna have to reach out to. But by and large, it's going much more smoothly again in terms of permitting. So, of that, it's,
Yeah, I'll jump in on that, too,
Yeah.
because, yeah, every year you're getting a little earlier, every year you're ironing out a few more bugs. You know, the fact that, I think in no small part, you being on top of it and kind of like words out there that Board of Health is kind of, is being proactive and is, trying to make sure that, not just that things get out earlier, but also helping people to complete it. And that's all on you. So I just want to say, you know, the fact that there's continuous improvement there, I know and I think the people in Hadley really appreciate the work
It's,
you did on that. So
it's
thank you.
truly remarkable what the two of you have done. I don't even have words for
It's been awesome seeing things come together. Like just, it was a long time coming, and it's really great to see.
it. Really incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
I
thank
think
you
you've
guys
helped,
for your
I think
support.
you've helped modernize us, streamline us, make us, consistent, and, proactive
It's
and,
just great.
yeah.
When does anybody else have any business?
Nope.
Next meeting?
Let's see, I think
I forgot to have it put on the agenda, but just as the animal inspector, I've done our first couple of barn inspections for the year. They've all gone well. I'm still looking forward to sending out messaging to our other local farms this coming Wednesday, hopefully, as space allows to get the other ones really rolling. And really encouraged for the 2025 season and having Ben come with me along with an inspection or two. It's going to be a good time. So just really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Same here.
Thank you, Dragon.
Yeah, I'll wear my boots that day, definitely.
We'll coordinate it ahead of time. Everyone's a good spirit in this town. It's good.
Sounds good.
Do you have
Oh,
a
so-
calendar there?
So for the calendar, let's see, I think we have, so normally if we go back to our scheduled, timeframe, it would be December
the 12th.
12th.
Yeah,
Uh,
that works better for me just because on the third Thursday, I have a conflict with another commitment. So if we're able to go back to that would be.
December
Yeah,
12th is
December,
great.
I mean, I've got it, I think the sooner we can get back on track,
Yeah.
then the more consistent,
I will
we
be,
remember it.
hopefully we'll be on Zoom, but I will be on.
Yeah, so we are gonna be getting Zoom links, for the next several months, and
Many
perhaps
months.
all through winter, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
I'm good on the 12th as well, by the way.
okay, so the next
Great.
meeting will
All right,
be
we're gonna,
for December 12th. Hang
gonna
on,
adjourn the meeting.
meeting,
And that's at 6:30, right? Just to close the
Correct.
loop.
12/12/24 at 6:30.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Well,
Yes.
hold on. Did you say 12/24? Oh, 12/12/24.
Oh.
That's what you said.
Not Christmas Eve.
That would be.
Well, that's what
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
I